What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the single player Let's Play series. So I know that on Twitter I had posted saying that I apologize that would probably be a one episode for the month, but it's November 28th, and I have today and tomorrow free. So I figured, okay, I'm going to chill. I'm going to take some time to myself to relax and play games. And this was what I wanted to do because I felt like I would be betraying you guys if I didn't. So, plus, it actually is a fun pack, and I really do like doing this. And the next step is going to be fun. So, in between episodes, I've done two little things. First thing is, as you can see, I rebuilt this little building, and I used X-tones for the floor. And just kind of went for like a nature greeny thing, which has a lot to do with what I'm doing today. And then the second thing that I did was, if you check out my inventory, I installed a mod, and it is called Inventory Upgrades, or Expandable Inventory, I'm sorry. So you can see that these are just mushrooms with special recipes, and I think I ate all the way up to tier 4. I did not have tier 5's worth because it requires another star, but you'll see that the first few tiers give you one new row. Fourth tier gives you 2 new rows, and so does the 5th and the 6th. But the 7th tier, the dragon tier, gives you 3 more rows. Now, you have to eat these in a linear order, so that means the next one for me is the Nether Inventory Expander, as you can see. And then if you die, it'll drop a drop box. So the reason that I decided to do this was because I found a very bad dupe glitch in the backpacks mod that I was using, Wearable Backpacks by Copygirl, and it's was it by Copygirl? No, it was not by Copygirl. The original one was, my bad, by AC. And the original one was great, but I had a couple of dupe glitches with this one, and I just decided, okay, rather than having an extra hotkey and a conflicting render, I just would do this. So I've eaten a few of these, and you can see I now have this scroll bar that shows up in my inventory everywhere I go. This is really great because if I'm in my ender chest, I can scroll over to this, and you see this is that backpack section that I had before, but now it's just in my inventory natively. So if my inventory fills up, I can just scoot it down a few slots, and then I have more space for it. And so yeah, that's all I've done. But this episode, we're going to make a few cloches and get started with some fun stuff, because there's one other thing I did that had nothing to do with being in-game. It was configuring. I added mystical agriculture with a caveat. So because we don't have quarryable ore discovery, essentially, wow, I phrased that really badly. Since we don't have ores that generate everywhere, there's no sense in quarrying. So ender quarries, or rather quarry types from here we go, the quantum quarry or the quarry tool card from RF Tools, or just any other mechanism you can think of, like a mining bore or anything like that, those aren't particularly valid in this pack, which is fine by me. I don't really care for quarries. They look terrible. The idea is to come up with other methods anyways. So the method that I chose for this pack was mystical agriculture. Now, mystical agriculture recipes have all been disabled except for the ones that I explicitly enabled. Which means that the ones that make alloys, like Fluxed Electrum, this is the only recipe that's available. You can't actually craft the seed. So let's take a look and see what the crafting recipes tend to look like. All of the crafting recipes that are enabled are from the Empowerer. They all require an empowered canola seed, because I want this to actually require some decent amounts of effort, because you'll need to get your empowered canola seed to get any of these. So these all are going to require blocks where applicable. So if I wanted coal seeds, I'd need a block of coal, block of iron, etc. And you can see experience seed, like I was saying, go on and go forth, etc. So you can see, like, silicon uses basically all the things that make up silicon as well as silicon. Sulfur, I'm allowing block of aluminum. I've worked pretty hard on getting these recipes in, and they're not necessarily meant to be challenging as they are just meant to be not the first thing I go to. And as such, they're not the first thing you're going to go to. You're going to find a whole bunch of other mechanics first as far as just mining manually. But with that being said, I do want to start automating some ores and getting all of that produced. Now, the way that I plan on doing this is going to involve a little bit of trickiness, because we're going to want this room in here, but I want the sub-basement which I'll have to dig out again because I did clear it out, to actually do the crafting for me for these items, because cloche is going to produce these all produce an essence, but the essence isn't the actual material, it's what you need to craft into the material you actually want. So we're gonna need to create some sort of auto crafting mechanic for that as well, and I have a few in mind that I haven't really planned out 100% yet, but they're definitely on my to-do list. Alright, so this is the plan that I have come up with. It is a kind of complicated one, but it's going to work either way. So I'm going to use these mechanical crafters. Mechanical crafters are not terribly difficult to craft, just a dropper, a resonating redstone crystal, and a crafting table itself. These guys are going to handle the actual crafting for me. And then I'm going to have a bunch of seeds that we'll end up crafting along the way. And we're going to want a cloche, of course, to actually grow these, I'm thinking. Unless we wanted to do a harvester. And if we did a harvester, that would be a completely different scenario. I think we're going to go with the cloche. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. We're going to need a bunch of these as well. Well, not a bunch, but one for every one of these. So why don't we get started with the things that we know we need. So we're going to need another aqueous accumulator. Yeah, I totally misspelled that. There we go. So we're going to want to grab one of these. That's going to be a decent bit of iron. And the reason that I'm making a bunch of automation now is because I'm coming to the realization that some of the stuff that I might want to get to in the future is definitely going to require it. We're going to need many more materials, and I just don't want to worry about materials anymore. I'm at the point in this pack where I'm pretty much ready to just start playing and stop worrying about stuff, which means that at some point we'll probably get a cobble, not a cobble gen, a cobble works, that's the word I was looking for, to actually handle the creation of a bunch of materials like glass, sand, gravel, cobble, smooth stone, without having to worry about it, because we've got cobble and smooth stone under control, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that if we really wanted to get into the details of it. So it's definitely got a lot to, there's definitely a lot left to go with this pack as far as things that I want to get done. So just keep that in mind. We'll grab some buckets. I've got to get, I think, 2? Yeah. And we'll run over here, and I'm thinking, for simplicity's sake, see, it's really quite unfortunate, but I might have to tear these all down. Yeah, actually, why don't I just do this? Oh, hi. Whoops. So what I was thinking is we could have fluid ducts all along here, and I want to make this scalable, so I'm going to go ahead and route everything now as far as the fluid ducts go, and I might just end up covering them up. That way we can retain some sort of aesthetic still, even if I don't have this whole room filled yet, which is probably what will be the case, is that I won't have it all filled for a while. There's a lot of crops in mystical agriculture, but a lot of them are not necessary, or at least not things that I feel a need to automate. Some of those are like biotite. I don't use biotite a lot. It's not a building material I really cherish all that much, so it's not something that I'm going to terribly stress over having automated. But there are some things that I do definitely want to have automated. Let's see, I should have a water bucket in here too. This is my only complaint about this mod, is that sometimes, and this is user error, sometimes your stuff gets mixed in there and you just forget, like the aqueous accumulator. There we go. It's not hard to fix, just one of those things that you're like, oh crap, I forgot that was a thing. So we can set this up. Actually, that's a good question. Where do I want to set this up? I feel like this is not where I want to set it up. Yeah, what the heck. We'll just put it right here. And then we will grab our fluid ducts and filled. Everything will be filled. So let's go grab some, oh, come on, some structural ducts so that we can come over here and cover that up and make it look still pretty good. I'm thinking we'll probably need 3 probably. So now, whoops, let me grab this guy. Why? Why would you do this to me? I've been betrayed. Well, oh, here we go. So we can go ahead and cover these up so that, like I said, for now, these look just fine. And then as I add more in, I don't have to do nearly as much about it. I can just kind of toss one down and be done with it. I'm one short, but I think I'll live because we're going to populate this with some cloches anyways. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that one so that it's the centermost one that is gone. And so with that, we can mark one thing off of our list. And the other thing that I want to get working is a bunch of these crafters. Now, what I don't know, actually, is... I'm going to say let's start with 7 crafters for now. I don't actually know how many we'll need, but it's a good start. I don't actually know if these take up power. So they don't seem to idly, but what if I put like a crafting recipe in there? What if I say, you make a furnace? And then put this here. That did not require anything. It was kind of slow though, so we may want to explore upgrading these in the future. But honestly, we don't get inputs that fast from a cloche. I don't think that's going to be an issue in the immediate future. Let's see. Do I have any zest? No, I think I'm converting everything, aren't I? Yeah, thought so. Well, this is interesting for sure. And in fact, I don't need that furnace, nor do I need these furnace generators anymore. So we're going to go ahead and stick with that crafter for now. So let's go ahead and remove the crafter from our search inventory and just move on to the next thing, which is wireless RF transmission. This is going to require grid power, so maybe we don't want to do this after all. And I don't care for the concept all that much. We've got power right there anyways. We might just skip that. We might not. Yeah, and we still have a power pole. Let's not. So let's just make sure we have... let me make sure to remove that search. And we're going to grab some wire... Let's see, HV wire connector is fine. Wire relay... probably going to need a few of these. And then inside, we're going to do a bunch of LV wire. It's not really one of those things we'll need high power for, so there's no sense in wasting it. And then I'm going to grab a capacitor. Do I want to use one of these LVs? Yeah, I suppose that works. Keep with the theme, I guess. So I'm thinking we can input our power right here. And then what I'll do is grab a hammer and set this side to output, this side to input. And then we can HV wire into this, I think. Last time I checked, this is still a thing you're allowed to do. Yep, seems like it. And now we can take an LV wire connector on this side, standing right in the center. We'll put another one right here for a wire relay, and there we go. Now we have power that we can route all throughout the house, or building, rather. So keep in mind that our cloches are going to come up to this height right here, so our power connectors will come to here. So that'll actually be a very clean-looking setup in the end. It won't be too terribly complicated. So there we go. Now we only have 2 steps left, which a couple of those steps have sub-steps. So we're going to make some cloches. I already have one. Of course, we're going to want more than one, so let's start with making 6 more cloches and move from there. Now, you guys have already seen me do this, so I'm going to go ahead and spare you the trouble, and I will be back once it is done. You know, I lied, actually. I forgot. There was one other thing that I did. I'm waiting on some obsidian to pulverize so that I can make more, more hardened glass. So, another thing that I did is, if you look over here, these are all maximally upgraded to, well, maximally, not really. They're all reinforced here now. So these have auxiliary transmission coils and auxiliary fuel catalyzers, or just normal fuel catalyzers. So that means that these will now produce 160 RF per tick, and while they should in theory use more by they should, in theory, consume more redstone through the transmission coil. They're actually consuming less because of the fuel catalyzer, so it actually evens out, so more RF for no cost. These guys are pretty much still at the fuel catalyzer as well, just because I was producing so much extra. So at this point, we're producing a bunch of power, more than we probably need for a good little while. Alright, so there we go. 7 cloches, 7 mechanical crafters. Now all I need is some dirt and, of course, some seeds. And the seeds are going to be the most interesting part, because they're going to do stuff that, or they're going to require things that we haven't even touched yet this series. So prepare yourself, because this is bound to be a good time. You know, this was not well planned. We'll just do 5 for now. I guess we need to think about this in the future, because this is definitely problematic. We don't have a lot of space here. Maybe I'll just put them along the other wall, and I will just go ahead and grab this guy so that I can cover that up. That's fine by me. Having them across from each other will actually probably look better too, make this a little bit less cramped. If we find ourselves needing more somehow than just 14 cloches worth of automated resources that we'll never need to go mining for again, then yeah, we'll look at expanding this, but I really just don't see ourselves needing it. We might, but I doubt it. And so we can hook all of them up to power. Like I said, does not look bad, does it? Pretty clean, pretty straightforward, just dropping down by about a block, so not even terrible. And eventually these guys will show that they have power. They're very, oh, that's cool. I've never seen it with the different inventory background. Sorry, distracting. But yeah, they don't update. Normally they update with the tick. I don't remember what the secret was, but there's some like fun trickery going on there. So they actually update, like a chunk update, I think? I don't remember. So we'll go ahead and drop dirt into these. You'll see the dirt show up on the bottom. We've already used these a couple of times now, so I don't know why I'm explaining from scratch. But there is still some fun to be had with these, because now we can run off and make some seeds. So we're going to need canola seeds, and the reason I chose canola seeds is because they're a seed, and they seemed like the most difficult seed to, or like the higher tier seeds seemed like the most difficult seeds to obtain for sure. So what we can do is actually, do we want to go, I'm thinking each one of these seeds is going to cost one of these, which means they're all going to be 5 each. So why don't I plant some, not eat any. Why don't I plant some? We'll come back to this and make sure that we keep farming these pretty regularly. Eventually, I'll probably break down this farm or turn it into a tree farm using Ender.io. I still have not yet decided, but definitely something that is going to come sooner rather than later, I'm sure. And in the meantime, while those are growing, because we do still have some work left to do, we can come over here and plan out some of our other stuff. So we're going to have a mechanical crafter in front of each one of these. The question, however, remains, do we want it to be there, or do we want to make this look kind of cool? So I'm thinking that what we could do instead is have the mechanical crafter here. This way, we don't have them taking up that full block of space. Now, how are they going to get down there is a different question. We could probably just use item ducts, because you know how much I like them. Or we could look into some other opportunities, but I'm thinking probably item duct. There's not really a lot of very fun transfer mechanics, to be honest, and that doesn't bother me per se. Like, there's the clothesline mod that came out not too long ago, but it just isn't really, I don't know, just not quite what I was looking for. So we can hook these up, and we can even make them look nice by making sure they separate, just like so. If I wanted to, I could technically turn all of the cloches around and put this in the wall. That is, in theory, an option, but I think this would actually kind of look cool. That's my goal, is that this is actually going to look good and not bad. We'll see, but maybe. This means that these are going to output, and whatever they output will directly, like if I put in canola here, we can actually watch the graphic as it grows, and you'll see that eventually it'll grow. And when it does, the output should shovel itself into the mechanical crafter here. So we should see output, mechanical crafter. Great. And that's actually not a bad idea. This is a good way of getting some canola seeds while we wait. Because we're going to need to empower a bunch of these. Thinking so, if we're going to need 7, then we're going to need... Well, here, I can do math. If we want 7 different seeds, and each seed is going to require, well, not the flux electrum, that's something we can craft, so yeah, no. So if each seed requires 5, because we're going to have to empower these, right? So that means we're going to need 35. But you can see how this crafter is going to work. It's just going to take your input and output it pretty straightforward. And I can actually put stuff here in the output inventory. And you can very barely see, because the conduit's covering it, what it's going to craft on the top. It does have a little hologram feature. So we're getting there. I'm just going to leave those and start working on a few of these. So let's see. Let me make sure. Why do I keep clicking on the one thing that doesn't have a recipe? I forgot to disable or hide some of these, like the hop graphite that we don't even have. So these are normal canola seeds. Okay, and then these are empowered so wait, no, canola to get crystallized. Okay, so we want 7. We can go ahead and empower these, or they're called empowered, but they're not. They're crystallized. They're not called empowered. Oh, and you know what? That's the wrong one. Alright, there we go. Crystallized it is. And now, hopefully by now we have enough to make 28. Oh, no, it's this one? This one. Yep, now we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and take this canola seed out of here. We'll keep those growing just because it doesn't hurt, but it's just not something we really need. But we will keep the other ones over here growing. So I'm going to go ahead and make up a bunch of these. This will take a while, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it off camera because... Oh wait, no, it won't take a while. My bad. I thought that took long, but I guess I forgot. You remember last Let's Play? If you don't remember, then shame on you. You should go watch the series. Just kidding. I'm not going to shame you into watching my series. But in the last series, we actually used this system to create power. And so this is kind of fun to use this not for creating power, just because that was a very difficult and often... since there were a lot of moving parts, it broke a lot. And that had nothing to do with the mod being wrong. It was just a matter of, you know, one thing led to another, or me forgetting about an edge case where something would overflow, or this or that or the other. It was kind of a terrible mess. It produced a decent bit of power, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely more fun the way we have it this Let's Play, where it's not nearly as messy. So we're going to want an ender chest. I think I already have an ender chest for cyan, so that's great. We're going to want these. Now, what are some materials you think we should automate? Because I think we should look at ingot. Not ingot. We should look at ingot, but not at ingot. And take a look and see what we're low on. So things we are low on, or things that we use a lot, I would say we are definitely low comparably on iron, gold, let's see, I would say copper and tin are usually the next default things, and then silver and lead. So why don't we look at those? Silver, I don't think I enabled steel seeds, did I? You know what? It would help if I... No. Good. I was pretty sure I didn't enable steel seeds, because steel is kind of not meant to be a seed, in my opinion. So we'll make lead blocks. Go ahead and do copper and tin. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. And then tin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, I don't know, probably nickel? And that would be 7. So that's going to give us quite a few different seeds to start with. Now keep in mind, this is a very scalable setup here. So the way I've designed this is in such a way that in the future, we can easily add more. And when we run out of space, well, we can easily add up to 7 more. And when we run out of space from there, then I can come up with something new. So let me show you how these recipes look, because you can actually customize the color, and I tried my hardest to make these look good. This uses a lot of power to make, by the way. Specifically made it so that these will suck up a decent amount of juice. You're not going to really see an effect from here because these are all leadstone. But there we go. Tin seeds. So let's do it with, probably just do iron for now. So this is how the recipe is laid out. Now, to put it into perspective, the other recipe by default, I think, is just a few mineable resources and, oh, what else is it? It's a few mineable resources and a few ingots and a few dusts. Like, it's not that hard. It's just... This took some time to kind of come up with, and if I didn't already have this in power, this would have taken a lot more time. Alright, there we are. So why don't we come over here, plop these in the cloches, and work on getting the output auto-crafted. Because the output having to be auto-crafted just means that we need to make sure we get enough materials to be able to teach those recipes. So I can put these in these cloches, and you'll watch them grow. They're not terribly slow at growing. You'll see each one of these are going to start popping up to the next tier. That one's already fully grown. See? Not that difficult. So you're going to have our outputs flow into these pretty much in the same order that we put these in. They all seem to grow at the same rate, so that's pretty cool. And this uses ghost items, so I don't even have to have the items in order to test that. So we can go ahead and set these all up to craft us the corresponding ingots. And it does seem like you have to click for each one of these, but that's okay. I can't complain. So the ancillary items and input, I think that means that... I actually don't know what that means. I'll have to figure that out sometime. But you see that these aren't coming in at so fast that we would want an upgrade, really. I mean, we kind of want to instinctively because these are slow, but they're not taking in a bunch of items, and they can only store one ingredient at a time. Now, the reason that I opted for these instead of something else is because, first of all, we haven't used much from extra utilities so far. But second of all, and more importantly, is the crafter from RF Tools, as cool as it is, has been known to be a source of pretty notable lag. And so I just didn't want to run myself into any performance issues if I could possibly avoid it, and there just didn't seem to be any reason to ask for trouble if there really didn't need to be. So we're going to go ahead and put this here, and I'm going to use a new item. We're going to use item ducts, of course, I think, but I want to use... I do have enough item ducts for the most part. I might need like a few more. But I want to use something new as well. That should be plenty. And that is, and what I want to use is at thermal dynamics. Is it called a retriever? Retriever. So I want to make a retriever. I think I want to make a hardened one. And this isn't terribly difficult. It's just an Eye of Ender, which is a blaze rod, which I'm going to go be efficient and pulverize this, or sag mill it even. Just because that's how I am. We'll go ahead and make... can I make a reinforced? No. We'll just stick with hardened. Fine by me. Should be plenty. And we can run over. And while I can't imagine anything is ready yet... Oh, actually, yeah, you can see stuff is ready already. We can go ahead and take all of these, and you see these are going to hook up, that's fine. But instead of needing a servo for each and every one of these, I can just put a single point, put a retriever here, and ignore. Now what you're going to see happen is eventually, once it does some pathfinding, it's going to suck items out for me. Now it's going to suck them out all at once, well, not all at once, but in groups of 16, which these craft in groups of 6 at most so far is what I've found. So this should be able to grab most items in one single swoop, which is pretty useful in my opinion. So I can go ahead and preemptively plan. Let's see, we can do that and then this. I can go ahead and preemptively plan out where the next ones are going to be, which is literally right here, and go ahead and have these ready too. So that way in the future, all I need to craft is some crafters, some cloches, and just hook them up. I don't have to worry about, do I have this and that and the other. The only thing I'll need to do is the power, but that's very simple to do. So this makes for a very expandable setup that did not take too much effort at all as far as getting it set up. The ingredients obviously were a bit of a pain, but that's fine. So now the last piece of the puzzle, in my opinion, is to make 100% sure that we're not going to have any overflow. And that's kind of a pain in the butt to deal with if you do happen across it. So we're going to look at void upgrades for a bunch of our materials. And in fact, I'm just going to run over here and do them because that's where our drawers are in the first place. Because all these items are being input into our drawers, remember that. So we're going to have to make sure that we're dealing with that reasonably, and instead of just kind of leaving them to the dust and let them do whatever. Let me quickly clean up this real quick. So we want to make sure that we handle overflow, which we're going to do via void upgrades, of course. So we can go ahead and take a look at that, void upgrade. Do I have any of the storage drawer upgrades? Let me move this over. No, does not look like I do. So we're just going to make a few drawers. Do I have any chests or drawer? No. Wait, what? Why is that showing up when it's just a storage? That's weird. What about thermal? Oh, so I don't even have to type at. That's strange. Okay. So let's go ahead and get some chests, which it seems like I don't even have any of those. So let's get some wood. What do I have the most of? It looks like oak. Well, go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and make a decent amount of these drawers because I really just don't like making them. And then I don't suppose I have sticks on hand. Not really a lot. So we'll use oak wood again. And now we can get a whole bunch of these upgrade templates because I use them pretty regularly. And we're going to want to make 7 void upgrades because we just made 7 new cloche materials. So we're going to put void upgrades on these. Let's see. Yeah, these. So this also is a good place to take a look and see of what we might want to start automating. These items in drawers are good to know that if we have a bunch of them now, we may also have a bunch of them later. So they're definitely worth considering upgrading and automating in the future. So things like quartz would be great to have automated, especially glowstone. I don't know that there actually is a glowstone seed. No, there's not, which is fine. Okay. Whatever. Then there's also all these mob drops that I would like to eventually have automated as well. There's kind of some work behind that, but that would still be cool to have done. So, definitely some stuff that I want to have automated in the future. Just kind of, expressing my thoughts as to what we should be working towards next. So, yeah, it's kind of some fun stuff in the future. Let me look into some of the other stuff we might want to try to automate. Actually, you know what? I might try to make video editing easy on myself and call it an episode there because it seems as though we've got a decent amount of stuff done already. With this stuff automated here, we don't really have a lot left to look at quite yet. In the future, we can start looking into it, but I'm just going to leave the world loaded to get some more materials built up that way. Oh, one thing I do want to get done, though, is I have some coal coke, but I'm going to actually put some coal... I probably should have automated coal, actually. I want to start producing more steel is my thing, because I don't have a bunch. I've only got, like, a couple of stacks, and realistically, the expandability in the future of making more steel is probably pretty important. At least making sure that I've always got some around. Oh, I see a problem here. Well, I'll figure something out for that. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you have any ideas or requests for things to automate, or rather ingredients to automate especially. I think I might do a tree farm over here in this general area, probably to replace this stuff. And until then, I think that should do it. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.